There's a saltwater version of a HatchetFish that I didn't make. So that will have to be a future build. Bob Saget. I certainly wasn't stewing on that the entire time I was building this bait. The freshwater HatchetFish. This is still a cool fish. Apparently they're peaceful. They're just a bunch of chill fish, unique to Central and South America. They're known for their hatchet-shaped bodies and the ability to fly. That's, you know, just mention that casually. They can fly. They literally flap their powerful wing-like fins and burst out of the water and fly through the air short distances. People keep these fish in aquariums a lot of the time, and they gotta have a secure lid on that aquarium because they will fly to their deaths on your living room carpet. When you feed them, they prefer floating foods. They'll come up and hit topwater. Can you imagine going to South America, having the most nano fishing gear possible, fishing nano topwater for these little guys? I don't think nano fishing can get any more extreme than that. South American HatchetFish topwater on the Amazon River. I don't know why it keeps mentioning that they're peaceful. They're peaceful, apparently. I'm not given any reason to think they are because they seem pretty savage to me, ambushing anything on the surface. But they're peaceful. They prefer the areas that are kind of flooded, slow-moving streams, swampy stuff. They like to chill off to the sides, you know? Maybe it's because the Amazon River is such a chaotic, extreme environment for all the other fish. They're the ones just chilling on the bleachers, talking smack about all the others going wild out there. That's what they're doing. That's why they say they're peaceful. They're eating insects, they're eating stuff on the surface that sometimes they occasionally have to pop out of the water to grab out of the air and go back in. Like they'll do that to a mosquito. That's pretty sweet. Anyway, it's an interesting fish. That was fun fact. Dude, that just fell off the back. Bounced off the ground perfectly and I caught it. That's just friction fit on the back, apparently, of this $80 chisel. At least it's sharp. I sharpened it. Very weird shape. And I have to get a really long flat side carved down and smooth. It's rough carved. Gonna move on to sanding. Riding the line between having a super thin belly and then enough to still put weight in that belly. They have thin bellies. Polishing compound. That is sanded down to 1000 everywhere. This is still the cutting compound. This is the polishing. Just trying to get it to where I don't see any lines at all. That's getting there. Put on a new wheel. Can't focus on it, that means it's clear. I gotta widen that. Thickness of the saw blade is not enough. This thing's got a little set of gills, just kind of crammed up into the corner. They are detailed though, there's a lot going on in these gills. I'm gonna need to be careful. Yeah, these are tiny amounts of wood. It's unsettling, so easy to make a mistake. This right here, that's gonna have to be really deep to accept these strange fins. Alright, it's getting kind of tight. I don't want to crack the wood. That is a funky fin though. I can pin it in too. It'll need to be strong. Little 1/4 inch holes. We're gonna go back with the Dremel and widen those out. I don't know what I'm trying to show you. Can't see that at all, but they're wider in there. See? Lead's hot. Oh, there we go. First strip right there. Just colored my wood. More slots to Dremel. Screwed the hardware in real quick. We're gonna seal this wood. Decided to paint them. I was gonna carve the scales. I decided to paint them. Starting with a little bit of white and black. Barely able to see it. A little bit of natural lip color towards the back there, and then yellow on the belly. And now a very dark green on the top. Bismuth yellow, reduced quite a bit. Thin line. It'll be good to have that established as I paint the rest. I put a brighter line, kind of curved, defines the belly, separates it. The scales look different between this line. Up here, they're at a different angle. Down there, they're pointed down more. But we're not doing scales right now. The gills need some life of their own. And by life, I mean shine. War Paint's plate mail is what that was. Okay, that's pretty good. I'm gonna highlight each one of those by hand, so it's a good template to go off of. Scales go with that lateral line now. So those are the two different angles. The transition between the two might need some paint to kind of separate them a bit more. A lot more colors needed at the top, but that's a really good start. That will get us there. By the way, I was just using and didn't explain. Embroidery hoops. Clamps the mesh in a big circle, still kind of loose, so you can lay it over a bait as it's mounted up in a vise. That's like a musky bait scale material right there. First time using these, that was nice. The darker spots up there are kind of hard to see. It's pearlized paint, so it flashes, but you see it back there. That made a big difference. It needed that. I don't think I want to go darker, because then you won't be able to really see the colors. I need to make that transition line right there a little bit more smooth, work on some top colors, finish the gills and stuff. I do not possess an eye like that in a 1/4 inch, but Out of all my dead meat customs, that one has the most pronounced yellowish iris. We're gonna go with that. And it kind of, the pupil color looks very hatchet-like. Kind of triangular. It's like the shape of the bait, except upside down. Wonderful. What's not wonderful is I have to put the spines on this crazy funky fin with a Dremel and like follow the curvature. This will be the weirdest one I've ever done, so. Confidence level 32%. Let's go. Whew. You ever try so hard your eyes water and it still wasn't enough? I'm not crying, I just tried so hard. My eyes are watering. That'll do. I mean, it's the indication of spines. They have more spines than that, but I can't fit any more on there. It's such a skinny fin. There's all of those painted. They have kind of a sepia brown tint to them, especially the side fins. And they are gonna get 5-minute epoxied into this. Hopefully it swims. This entire time, I haven't theorized anything when it comes to the action. I'm just hoping it, you know, wiggles with all the finnage coming off of it. Dropping a glob right there and stuffing it in. I'm gonna have to watch this very closely. I don't want any of these fins drifting out of spot. They need to be so even. That was the hard Chinese UV resin. I didn't fart. I'm gonna get the final clear coat on here. Maybe 2 of them. Wow, okay, the clear coat going over that fin made it look way better. I hope this thing wobbles. I should have thought about that more. I didn't want to make a multiple piece bait. You know, it could still work. I should just be confident. Confident and quiet. There's that. The fins are the correct tone of color. The scales, if you get them at the right angle, they're very prominent and they look like the reference photo. That's probably the case with the real fish too. At different angles, they kind of get muddy and then pop when they're shiny. The 2 different directions of scales, very prominent. It looks good. It looks like weird little fish. If it doesn't work, I'm gonna cry. Let's see. I'm nervous. I say there's like a 30% chance it works. Sits upright. Oh, it works great. It works perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. It's stable. It stabilizes itself. I can start it sideways and then it straightens up and goes because of the fins. Dude, that's gonna catch fish. Not just fish, fish. Went from a 30% chance it'll work to Action City. It will catch. Ultra confident. I like builds like these. A real fish, but it's weird. Make a HatchetFish official. Can feel certain about being able to do that. I'm continuing to carve life into this, but the rate that that's going at makes me very uncertain about when the next part of the sucker build series is coming out, so be patient. I'm kind of like, why did that work? One look at this bait, if I didn't make it, one look at this bait, and all of the finnage sticking up and out. It has a fixed tail fin. Anal, dorsal, everything fin, and it stabilizes and cranks so well. Perfect spring action bait. Why did that work? There's plenty of space for hookup. That fin's not impeding that hook at all. It's grabby. Very realistic presentation in the water. Maybe it's because of the tapered, sharpened, water grabby lip. Maybe it's that. It can't help but crank if it has one of those. Oh, and I made this. Look at this. What a perfect dead meat custom eye. That's what I focus on first when I look at this thing. That dead meat custom right there, I didn't want red, I didn't want a ton of yellow, I didn't want to distract from all of that. And that is just the perfect eye for this thing. Those are 8-bit bait siren scales. There's some, I think hollow shift powders and everything in there. That's just a perfect shiny color combo for the perch. Lovely. Anyway, thanks for watching. On to the next bait.